when you go through semiconductors today, which had a day where they basically just consolidated their gains. Hey everybody, hope you had a great trading week. It was a strong one to say the least. We're going to go over the indexes at the end, so just stay to the end. But let's focus on 10 stocks that you need to look at for next week. The majority of these are going to be longs more than shorts. First one's Tesla, and we're going to talk about what's going on here. See this pattern? See this bar? See how this bar is then in that one, and then this one is in that one? So this is called double inside days. Pretty rare to actually see it. Usually pressure of the buyer or the seller will kick you out before then. But now you have double inside days and you have a doji. Dojis signify uncertainty, as we are aware of. All we're really looking for out of this trade is to get over 1021.62. And then if we break the 99756 level, just get out of the way. You shouldn't do that. And if you did that and you closed there, you'd actually have a bearish engulfing. But if you look at this on a longer time frame, such as the weekly, and I would strongly recommend that you look at all your positions on weekly time frames at the end of the week. You want the bars to close so you have confirmation of the move. Well, this is the first time, 21 week. Last time you were above the 21 week was the first week in January. Until then, this has not happened. So this is a really good sign that's going on here, and it looks like we could go from here and continue to push higher. Of course, you're going to need a rest, and that's what today was. But now focus on the monthly for a moment. Now, as stated, we need this to close, but this would be the first positive month that we've had in Tesla in 5 months. And that's important to note. It's also important to note how we held the 21-month moving average. Also note how this body completely encompasses this body. Now, we need to see it close, but that's important and very bullish as well. First target is going to be right up here at that 1116, 1117 level. Subscribe to the channel, click all notifications, because what we go over here is extremely timely and you don't want it to be in your feed a week later. Also, I put out private videos for those people that are subscribed, and click all notifications, it'll appear in your feed. Today we walk through all the semiconductor trades when they were down and why they were probably a buy. So if you're interested in timely information on a technical basis, you pretty much want to subscribe to this channel. That's our focal point. LNG. So what's interesting about this company and natural gas, these really haven't moved as much during the war. We had a little bit of a bump and then we just kind of went sideways. And you can see when that took place right around here. What's fascinating is Europe is in this situation where essentially they are buying gas from somebody that they're sanctioning. And so it's creating this massive strife that we're all aware of. Well, the US has come out and said that they're going to help Europe reduce the reliance on Russian gas. How are they going to do that? They're going to do that by exporting more gas. Now, what's fascinating about this is we're near export capacity. So if you're near export capacity, how are you going to do that? Well, you're going to have to allow them somehow to either speed up their output or give them other areas to increase output, which means that these kinds of companies could benefit greatly from that. Now, what we saw today was probably the beginning of this move because of the space. If you're not familiar with this space, it's called LNG. LNG is liquefied natural gas. It's gas that's been cooled to a liquid state. They get it down pretty low. It's like negative 260 degrees Fahrenheit. It's easier for them to ship and store it that way. But what's good about this is in that liquid state, they can condense it so they can get more of it over there. That's the whole premise of this. So this is actually fascinating to me because this is very different than what Biden has been saying earlier about going green. There's no way that you're going to get more capacity to export unless you open up other channels for companies like this. So this could be massive. Now, to me, this is just beginning out of this cup. You could come back down, form a handle, and then pop out. But if you look at this on the weekly, this is pretty clear stuff. I mean, this is pretty clear break from here just straight up closing at the high. Look at the consistency and volume that we've seen. Take a look at this on a monthly. Okay, I mean, this is just ripping. And now there's some shorts out there, but nothing like there used to be in this name. You can see the break here, pretty clean where your major support is. But this is the kind of break you want to see. And this is a massive shift in policy. And I don't think we're really grasping that. People were looking at the oil drillers today and looking at rig. But I think the story is really going to be these LNG stocks because there's literally, I'm going to say it again, there's no way that they have the capacity right now to do what they're suggesting that they're going to do. They're talking about trying to halve their dependence on Russia in 18 months in Europe and Germany, which is a staggering number. So for this, we're going to look for a short-term trade, but we're going to have our long-term hats on. So we're going to just look for 149.40. If you get over 149.40, I would look at getting involved in this. I think you can see a 20% move in this fairly quickly. 143.82 is going to be our level. Please comment on these videos. That's the reason you're hearing me give target prices. It's the reason you're hearing me give stop prices and entry prices and being very specific, because they were the comments that came across. Now, Global Foundries is one that is in the newsletter. If you don't get the newsletter, there's a free version in the description of this video. Just click on the link and it'll set you right up. But we got in this around $77, as you can see over here. We've been playing with this for a while, and there were some people in the trading room that actually got in this down here off this break, and they've just done exceptional with it. This is a company, Foundries. They make semiconductors. What's fascinating about what they're doing is everybody is talking about globalization. Well, what Global Foundries actually does is put foundries in very specific countries, and then those countries they're not exporting anymore. They're taking the chips directly from there. So it's very interesting business. It's based upon utilization, no different than like Taiwan Semi. But what's interesting, technically, look at this break. Now, what I like about this chart more than anything is this. So you have not been around a long time at all. I'm just going to show you the monthly very quickly. Now, if you look at this, look at that line. Broke it, popped over it, formed somewhat of what we would call a handle, right? This could actually be construed as a big cup. Now you're breaking out of that. You know, when you go through semiconductors today, which had a day where they basically just consolidated their gains, very few actually broke out and hit all-time highs. So I would tell you that this has very strong relative strength. All you're doing is looking for an up and in kind of move. So you're looking for 79.5. Get over 79.5. Keep the stop at like $74. You know, with a wick like this, those kinds of wick, that kind of price rejection, I'd be shocked to see it actually happen. But if you flip this level, you can see 80s fairly quickly on this idea. I like this a lot. Now, this is one I've been stalking for some time, Arete. It is a small Israeli defense company. They do other things too with navigation, but primarily, let's just call it defense. This is obviously huge for what's going on overseas right now. See this 1480, we broke that. That was the level that we needed to get over. I was interested when we started seeing this. What I found troubling was you had this shooting star right here that led to an evening star. Here's another evening star. Then we started to do another one here. So we had to make a decision. And like most of the market on Wednesday, we didn't look great. Thursday, we looked amazing. And Friday, we can see the break. So this looks really very strong. Now, what you're looking for is 1657. One of their specialties is ground support systems. And obviously with the tanks that are coming in from Russia, this is very important. So I would expect people to start understanding this a little bit more. That might be why we saw the huge spike in volume. Remember this very quick tip. If you just want to see where you are relative volume to what's been going on, simply click the relative volume button. They make it simple enough. You can just look and see right where you're at. In this case, you're right at 540. So you're 5 times average daily volume. Kick this out, take a look at it on the weekly for a larger perspective, and you can see perfectly what you did and how you closed there on the weekly. On top of that, you can see this volume and how it's reflective. I mean, this is some pretty serious volume that kicked in. We haven't had this kind of volume in about 2.5 years. Now, this one's off the beaten path from where our focal point has been. Jackson Financial, they offer retirement planning annuity products, help clients protect their retirement savings and income. So you have a little bit of a financial company here. What's interesting is that this is a new issue, meaning has not been around a long time. We've only been out since about September as a public company. Now, as always, you use this first opening bar to kind of determine your range and look for support and resistance lines. And you can see how this was resistance and how it flipped to support. Now, what we're seeing is we're seeing a break out of this pattern that's been taking a long time, and we broke this double bottom. Let's focus on this double bottom so that you can see it. So here's our mark here, marked by this hammer. We undercut, go over. In order for confirmed double bottom, we have to clear the previous high, which is right here. Now, that would take you to this, unable to get above this wick until today. So I've been watching this for a little bit and it's actually breaking out. These new issues, especially coming out of corrections, are going to get a lot of attention. Why? Because there's no overhead resistance. If there's no overhead resistance, there's no supply. So you're going to see people play these more. It's one of the reasons why GFS is moving a little bit more than some of the other semiconductor names. It's one of the reasons why people are going to focus on names like this more than some of the other names. So 45.10 is your stop. 47 is going to be your buy price. And all you're looking to do is see if you can pop back in this channel. Now, you can see the channel fairly decently here, but let's just go to a weekly and just see if we can confirm that channel and see if we can get a better look at it. And we can. So this is going to be where our first spot is going to be, where we're going to have some resistance. And that's going to give us a target of roughly 55.5 on the stock. I like it. And it gives us some diversification into another sector that is not war, technology, or interest rate sensitive. Now, CIVI, this somewhat fits the thesis of what we were talking about earlier. So they're involved in natural gas acquisition, exploration, oil as well. But they seem to be spreading out into natural gas acquisition, exploration, development, and production in the U.S. Well, if you're going to have to increase capacity for LNG, liquefied natural gas, then we're going to have to find some people that increase production, some people that find the gas, i.e. development. That's what we're going to need. It's not rocket science, okay? Now, you have this huge base here, and I consider this a huge base. 6 months of just bonking, bonk, 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 right? If you knock on a door long enough, eventually it opens. This one popped open, and it popped open pretty decently. Don't have the huge volume, but we still have above average volume. Let's look at this on a weekly and get a better feel for it. Okay, you can just see the consolidation in here, and you can really see that upper channel, so it gives us an understanding of where we could go to. So what we're looking for out of something like this, I would focus on this level. This would be my primary focus. That's what I think you can get to. This would be my primary focus. That gets us a price of 87 3/4. You have a smaller one right here you're going to want to watch, and just watch that. Make sure that you clear this level right here at 68.90. But this is a clean break on above average volume in the right space at the right time. Europe has to get off of natural gas through Russia, and this is how they're going to do it. Through the U.S. apparently, in coordination with the EU. 64.78 is what you're looking for as far as your entry. AGCO, this is one we looked at earlier. They focus on agricultural tractors, self-propelled sprayers, and combines for the agricultural equipment. So think about what's going on there and how we're talking about food shortages and how even if this ends, the destruction that's going on in the Ukraine is going to greatly impact food. It's going to impact wheat. It's going to impact corn. You're going to need more equipment. This is the company. So these were the levels that we've been watching. We flipped the one, but this was a resistance up here, 144.78. We're through it. So what we need to see is get up and over 148.11. You want to clear. Clearing that on above average volume is going to pop us right through. Let's look at this on a monthly time frame. We have a lot of data here, right? So we definitely have more data than we usually have. Now, see this line right here? This is your base. So you are far off your base, but you have been in a position where you've formed a wedge. You've broken out of that wedge, and now you're getting above these wicks. And look at this close. So if I close here, I'm closing at an all-time high. Now, at the time of filming this is March 25th. So we still have time to the end of the month. But what's nice about this is it gives us a clear indication that if we just stand right here, we're still at an all-time high close on the stock. This is exactly the kind of thing you want to see. You know, you're seeing these names move, and what I'm looking for is I'm trying to find ones that have the chance of a substantial move, right? Certain ones are going to be a lot harder to move. Like John Deere is going to be a lot harder for this to move out of the range. This one's going to be a little bit easier. John Deere is an enormous company with a $135 billion market cap. This has an $11 billion market cap. So this has the potential to move substantially higher, and any type of strong order flow is going to go to their bottom line a lot faster than something like a John Deere or a Caterpillar. BG, Bunge Limited. Their focal point is processing grains, oil seeds, produces fertilizer, oils, milling products all over the world. Hopefully you're seeing the theme on what's going on out there in the world right now. What we're focused on here is this. This is what I wanted to see, and I needed to see the close, and I got my close. You are flipping an upper channel. Now, when you flip these, they go one of two ways. They can go parabolic or they can cross, and this can become resistance. If you watch the top 5 videos, just to review, yesterday we had this one, and we were looking for this to flip, and it kind of did, but then it sunk back down. So we're still going to kind of watch this one. I'm not crazy about that close, but it is fairly decent. So when you flip these upper channels, you can go parabolic. That's what we're looking for here. Very simple trade. All you're looking for out of this is 117.45. Let's look at this on a weekly. You can see it super clean right here, and you can see the break. Again, you could go parabolic. I'm looking for a 20-25% move on this. So you're looking for roughly around, let's call it 20-30 points. I think it's very doable. You've been in this kind of position for a while here. You can see the cup here on the weekly. You can see the handle right here, and then the breakout here. So the depth of this move down to here, right? You can see that it's roughly 20 points. We really haven't captured that yet. So I think there's some substantial moves still to be had here. And the space is hot. People are looking to figure out where they can get involved in the space that isn't overextended. And this is one of those areas. GNK. So Genko shipping. Now, shippers are having a hard time. Why are we looking at this one? Well, guess what they transport? Grain. They focus on grain. It's one of their major shipping and trading areas. That's what's important about it. We're watching the other names kind of come in. We're seeing Zim come in greatly after that huge dividend. We're seeing SBLK kind of go sideways. We're not seeing a ton of great action in these names. We're seeing this kind of falter. And this one just happens to be doing the exact opposite of that and actually breaking out. Now, these 3-part patterns are pretty powerful. You get your little doji and then you pop over that and you close. What I like about this more is this. So see this bar? This is just constant buying all week long. Okay, this shows you a completely different story than the daily. Look at the weekly volume here, right? So this is why I always look at multiple time frames. I'd recommend that you do the same. If you go across with that line, you've only ever had 1 week where you've had this kind of volume. Now, if you looked at this just from a daily perspective, you're not going to get that kind of color. So it's always helpful to look at multiple time frames. Breaking over this simple up and over trade, right? There's a theme with these, and that's the theme. We're looking to get in and up and then move our stops up. And roughly you're looking for $24. Get over that and go from there. The textbook cup and handle. Just absolutely textbook. And with the depth of this base to here, right, you're looking at 6-7 points. You haven't even begun to do that yet. On that kind of move, you're looking at least 25-30% that you could see on this. And stop simple. If you take out the higher high, but then you lose the breakout bar, you just get out of the trade. It costs you $1. You're in for hardly anything. PSTG, flash-based storage systems. What I like about that is this. Look at this little line. They make it so easy, right? There's major support. You can see that. Breaks out, falters back down, was probably earnings. Yep. So great earnings, but just wrong place, wrong time where we were in the market in March, and just sold down based upon that. Now you're starting to see people pay attention to earnings a little bit more. You had this wicks or price rejection, as we know. We got over that. Now you have this weird doji, but if you go and take a look at this on a weekly time frame, you get a completely different picture. You have something that is pulled back to a major support, double tapped it, and then broken out to all-time highs. So it's really important, again, I'm going to say it, you need to look at multiple time frames. Very simple trade. Look at the low in this bar, 34. Just on this break of getting 36.5 as your target, you get a 36.5 move to 34. You're looking at $2.50. And I just want to point something out. You have an enormous base here. So this has really been your base for a period of time. This area right in here. And you're just starting to get out of that base. And if you take a look at the depth from here to here, this is telling you that this can go substantially higher. So based upon requests, I'm going to just walk through the indexes a little bit. Now, you can see right here, beautiful day, beautiful reversal over the 50. This is a clear reversal. Now, why can I state that? Here's your double bottom. You undercut it. You must get over the higher high. You're over the higher high. You come back, test it. You make another higher high there. That's it. it's a wrap. So the double bottom's in. Now, does that mean it holds forever? No. It means right now that if you had to determine what direction you're going, that direction is up. It's not debatable any longer. It's not debatable for a couple reasons. You're above the 50, the 21's pointing up. We don't need the 5 and the 8. Is this a big move and can you roll back down and then go higher? Absolutely. That's called backfilling. It's healthy. Look at this and look at the strength today that we saw in the stocks. This was a perfect time for us to sell down, but what did we do? We went right to the 200, tested it, and almost formed a dragonfly right there. And that's a pretty powerful pattern. If you flip that level on Monday or Tuesday, you can have a really big push going forward. So I think it's really important to focus on what's going on out there. Now, obviously, the best looking index is going to be the SPY. You got over major resistance today. See how you kept bonking in here? Support and resistance flip. You got over major resistance today because you're more diversified. Obviously, with the energy doesn't hurt it. Now you're also the only major index above the 200-day moving average. So overall, you've undercut here. Here's your double bottom. Here's your higher high. You're over it. So the market looks great. And just pay attention to the VIX. The VIX will tell you which way we're going. And the VIX is telling you pretty clearly that we're selling down, that people are not concerned anymore. They're not buying protection. VIX is the volatility index. This is where we go to buy protection. People are not buying protection. They're not buying puts. That tells you everything you need to know. Please like this video and comment on how I can make it better. Please share it as well. You'll notice that I purposely don't run ads. So in order for the algorithm to pick me up, it's very helpful if you share the video and then also like it. That's all I have, everyone. Trade to win this week.